Yo, I'm not gonna lie. Being an indie VTuber low-key sucks ass. I've been trying to at least encourage and point out some things when it comes to the indie side of VTubing because I want us to do better. I want us to actually have some successful things to come to reality. However, when it comes to, the indie side, it is complete ass. I'm not gonna lie. Not everybody, but majority of people. When it comes to things, not everybody, but there is some people that makes it very hard. Obviously, we had the whole L thing, which even if you blatantly tell it to your audience and basically her entire fan base about all the crap that she pulled, again, no one will listen to you. So when something happens, and when something actually goes off, or something ridiculous goes even further than what we thought, then that's pretty much gonna be like a I told you so moment. It's pretty much going to be how Dr. Lupo was trying to get Delirious out in Among Us when he first saw that this man did some killing. So, that's pretty much how I am going to be in this entire thing. I'm like, oh look, Elle did something bad, so we finally get her ass out of here, finally. So that's pretty much how my thinking is going to be if that ever happens. Then you also had other VTubers making edgy jokes and trying to stir the pot in some things that happened 2 years ago. Granted, I don't care if it happened 2 years ago. It's a recent thing that happened that literally had the entire world rallying against this situation about what the hell happened, which was insane. But when it comes down to things, you use it for a joke just because. Granted, you might realize that it's a bit too late to it's a bit too early to use that as a joke. Granted, you really shouldn't use it in the slightest, but still, nonetheless, it was just like what were you thinking? You could literally said a World War II thing, and I guess people will be less mad about that. I guess, I don't know. Joking about death is kind of weird, but still, nonetheless, you pick something recent, and then it still does nothing more than make the indie side of VTubing look really shitty. It's just a culmination of things that makes everybody looks pretty bad, and it's so not the case because there's a lot of good VTubers that is out there. There's plenty of them that I absolutely follow and enjoy, that absolutely do wonderful work, and then you also have these people kind of coming in and just doing dick all. It's actual pain and insanity, and I do not like any of it. At this point, I was like, how are we expected to be better than a lot of these corporate agency VTubers if things like this keep happening? Or maybe when it comes to these bigger indie VTubers, maybe they're doing controversial stuff on purpose so that way they'll be the last ones to really make it out here. Maybe this is the plan that they're trying to pull. I don't necessarily know. It is a conspiracy, and I'm trying to see what is the actual answer. But when it comes to everything, honestly, at this point, I'm just at this point where I'm just like, the only indie VTuber that I absolutely care about is myself. And outside of myself, only the very few people that's in my inner circle. Y'all know who y'all is. Or at least somebody that, I'm interested in following. So, that's kind of what it is too. So if it's not me or like Alice or anybody else that's within the circle, then I'm not necessarily gonna really care overall too much. Like, everybody can still do the thing, they can still always be successful, and I'm down for that. But really, I'm just gonna be trying to, I guess, fight for myself and try to get myself over in any shape and form possible, because it seems like everybody else is taking away every single opportunity to become a good indie VTuber, to actually, be real to themselves when it comes to doing this entire thing. But it's just so much harder because all this controversy and all this ridiculous stuff that kind of keeps happening for really no damn reason. Things like this is obviously like one of the reasons why you have people like Silvervale in that one interview basically being like, oh, it's nice to have a company backing you, and it's only a company that's going to help you out in your successful VTuber journey. It feels like, honestly, with that entire interview, especially that last bit that I take real high annoyance to, that's the part of it where it's like, well, if you're not having a company, then you're pretty much screwed. Basically throwing indie VTubers under the bus without her even saying it. It feels like that's where this is coming from. And granted, it makes a lot of sense, I guess, considering the amount of stupidity and drama that comes from a lot of these indie VTubers that likes to cause drama and stuff. But it's just annoying too, because there's a lot of good ones that is out there that's trying to bust their ass, make people realize that, you know, there's some other people out here that deserve to be saved, but it's not necessarily going to be the case. And when people, even when it comes to the Japanese audience that might want to be looking over to the Western side of things, they might look at the Western side, but the only thing they're going to see is the corporate V shoujo, because that's probably going to be the only piece of main representation of the Western side of VTubing. They're going to look at that side as, oh, well, if that's their corporate side, then I guess every single VTuber is like them. When it's not even close enough to be the case. It's not. But VShojo is literally the president of, you know, the Western side of VTubing, and it's annoying as hell. But you know the crazy thing too? Even though they are a company and an agency though, what's the funniest thing is they're all still in some shape and form, at least in my eyes, somehow they're still giving off these indie type of vibes. No matter even if they are a part of a company or not. And honestly, when it comes to indie VTubers, we know they get into a lot of drama and a lot of trouble, and you know, VShojo is no different. They have their own laundry list of troubles that they get into. Honestly, I was even thinking this too. If there is a time where a VTuber agency has to go down and something happens to them, I would honestly think maybe VShojo will be the first one to go. I don't know when and I don't know how, but I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, considering the fact that, you know, they constantly keep getting into drama as well. And it's just a deeper reflection on the indie side of VTubing, especially considering that indies are nothing but filled with a lot of drama a lot of the time. And it makes a lot of sense that, yeah, maybe one day VShojo will go down, and it might just be like that. And even though, you know, she was like, Silverveil was basically being like, you know, there's less restrictions on the side, but still, some of the restrictions are good. Like, you didn't necessarily have to you know, say Hololiv's name out loud. You could have say, oh, Japanese VTuber agencies, or something like that along the lines. And with those restrictions, yes, idol culture can be very toxic, and we've seen what happened in Russia. But when it comes to things, those restrictions I feel like are needed in some shape and form, considering the fact that, you know, a lot of the top talent from Hololive and Niji don't necessarily really get into controversy themselves. The only time they get into some drama is either A, the audience gets into some nonsense with them, which is basically like some antis type of stuff, or just something else kind of happened that is not necessarily the VTuber's fault. VShojo has gotten to some things like that, which they have caused, whether it's something in their past or whether it is something that they are currently dealing with, like the whole Nuxtaku thing when it comes to the whole doxing stuff. Like, first of all, you're a company. Why in the hell would you use outside help for, you know, something that you should be able to handle when you're in the company? Like, it low-key makes no type of sense whatsoever. Like, if I know I'm running a company, number one, if I get outside help that's not even hired to the company, I'm going to look bad. So of course I'm going to be, first of all, like, I appreciate that, my boy, but you can sit your ass down. I'm not asking for your help. I don't need it. And pretty much try to solve it on my own. At least that's what my thinking would have been. But other than that, it just makes the company look weak, and it honestly makes everything kind of, you know, seem like it's a bit weaker on the Western side of agencies, honestly. And that's something else too that you gotta realize as well. The one other thing I will say, the last thing I will say, honestly, that Silverveil absolutely got wrong, at least in one shape and form, is that, you know, VTubing is going to get more modernized, and it's going to get more businesses coming in, try to do more things with it. And that's one thing I just absolutely hate. I want to honestly change how VTubing is in a way. I don't know how, but I want to change it, because it's like, oh, to be a VTuber, you gotta stream, you gotta be a part of an agency, you gotta be an idol, and blah blah blah. Male VTubers, no male can absolutely be a good VTuber. I want to change those type of perspectives personally, and one of those perspectives and one of those ways to do it is not join an agency. I don't care how hard this road is, even though it would be a benefit to join an agency, I am not going to join one, because I want to prove that you don't need a VTuber agency to make it. It feels like, yeah, without, you know, a company you won't make it, and that's what it seems like to a lot of people. But look around you. Look at the platform that you're on. What literal site you're watching this on. This has plenty of people, plenty of YouTubers that literally do nothing but try to fight as hard as they can without any major company backing them, and they still get some crazy numbers in places that they probably didn't even imagine hitting. So you don't need a company or something like that to back you up. Would it help? Yes, but you don't need it, and hopefully one day I'll be able to help and prove that to you. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about for this one, so hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification ring out. Also follow me on Twitter, and if you like to do this channel, Patreon is available as well. And until then, it's your boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.